So Richard, as I call him, Grandpa, really cared about his family. And I remember as a young child going out and staying on the farm, there were definitely some strict rules in place. Things that we had to follow, couldn't be too loud, no running. But he really did care about his family and wanted to make sure everyone was kind of having a good time and enjoying themselves.
Richard Ayers was larger than life in many ways. He was my grandfather, but he was so many things to so many other people. He was the boss, he was the business leader, he was community leader, elected official.
He was full of stories. He had a lot of great stories from Korea and World War II, and a lot of great stories about starting the business and how he got it off the ground. He was full of good advice.
So my grandpa taught us a lot, and he taught us a lot about work ethic and what it means to add value to anything that you do. And he loved to work, and that exuded to his children, and they became very good professionals in whatever aspect they wanted to become. But I think the way that he set an example through his drive, and his kids resonated that example, and now his grandchildren, I believe, still have that ethic because he taught his kids to work.
The biggest one is hard work pays off. And I think for me, that translated into both schoolwork and then a professional setting, always putting your best foot forward, because you don't know when you're going to get lucky, and you want to set yourself up to get lucky by working hard, preparing, and doing a good job, and really being proud of whatever your final work product is, no matter the setting. From a personal standpoint, from a professional standpoint, you always want to give your best, and it ultimately will pay off.
I think my fondest memories of Richard Ayers are just growing up as a child, hearing all his different stories he had about his life and how he grew up and his service in the military. And he always had advice to share and stories to tell on different topics, and it was great to have him as a role model.
A lot of what I remember spending time on the farm is actually going down to the basement with Grandpa and going through old books, kind of figurines, pictures, explaining World War II. And I think a lot of my interest in history actually came from those moments with Grandpa, where he was kind of spending time explaining kind of the history around World War II and his role and kind of how that evolved over time.
My understanding is that he was given advice by either a friend or a mentor to go into industry. He'd had an idea for a product that solved a real problem in the field, and his friend or mentor advised him to go into industry as opposed to doing what he had been doing, working for the ag extension. I think a customer actually requested we manufacture filters for use in agricultural applications. The first product, the Prevent Cap, was used specifically for day tanks on farms, and customer asked if he could also make a filter for use on those same tanks.
The one that immediately comes to mind is Marianne's wedding that was out on the farm, and after the ceremony or the reception, I think it was Bob. Bob was definitely the ringleader, lit off a bunch of fireworks. And Grandpa was so concerned that they were gonna light the house on fire that I just remember him walking around the whole house, surveying it to make sure that the house wasn't gonna burn down that night.
My fondest memory of my grandpa, especially at company events, Founders Day was a big deal to him. And any way that he could bring the employee base together and his family together was something that was very special to him. So those events where he could introduce his family to his employee base family, he took that very seriously. And those are events that I think I remember the most, and really it's what attracted me to help or to join the business was how special it was to him and how close he wanted to be to the employee base.
He cared a great deal about the employees here and took a lot of pride in being able to provide them with employment opportunities in such a small town in a rural area. And so he was always very aware or conscious of the employees.
I was pretty little. I'm younger than a couple of my cousins, so I remember him through a child's eyes, and I remember how important he was to the town, and I remember being places with him, and everyone would reach out to him or extend a hello, and he was very gracious with his return, or you could feel how important he maybe was to some of the people in the town and to the employee base also. So I remember that about him most, and how he tried to positively influence everyone he worked with.
He really had a great sense of civic duty and civic pride for where he lived. He was very proud to be a BMENT resident, even though he grew up on the south side of Chicago. He left Chicago when he was a teen and really never went back, and settled here in central Illinois in a small town, and just really dove into it and did whatever he could to make that community better and make the community a better place and provide jobs and opportunities for its residents. So it was great to have him as the leader of our family and someone to look up to.
Grandpa, I think at one time was mayor of BMENT, and I think they installed the sewer system. They either installed it or redid the sewer system when he was mayor, and that would have been, I don't know when that was, maybe the 50s or 60s, but he was instrumental in getting a lot of infrastructure projects done decades ago in the village of BMENT.
Richard Ayers as a grandfather was a great leader of our family because he always prioritized being together, spending time together. In some ways, he was very strict and demanding. You knew that growing up, he had high expectations for you. He expected that you were going to work hard at whatever you did. You were going to be successful, and you were going to give back. And he instilled those values, I think, in all of his children, all of his grandchildren. And it's a legacy that I think all of us try to live out to this day. He was just very much someone that was very respected in the community, and someone that I'm proud to have called my grandfather.